But lastly, but definitely not leastly, we have Sophie Phillips, who has been quoted by one person that if there's a CEO amongst us, it's Sophie. She is the lead singer of Them and the Hunters. She's apparently really good. I've actually never worked with Sophie, but apparently she's really good. So our last speaker tonight is Sophie Phillips.
In advance to my whiteboard, I'm no Kai Faulkner, so I couldn't do something amazing today. Sammy also run out of time with the catering. And also, Jess, big shout out to you. You made me really self-conscious of this speech. I hope I'm not a newsreader today. But essentially, today what I wanted to talk about was something that I think is quite real, particularly as we're about to embark on graduation, and it's probably one of the more serious topics from today, but I'll try and make it interesting. So in terms of my talk today, I really wanted to run over how we can communicate the value of BCII to prospective employers. That's kind of the holistic thing that we're going to be looking at, but first I wanted to start with looking at what is BCII in general, because I did have a conversation with Will Connolly. He's not here now, I think he's just left, but he was saying, Sophie, can you just put up a definition on the board, we all memorise it and spit that out in a job interview? That's what he honestly said to me, because the reality is no one knows what BCII is until you actually experience it, or you tie it into your own personal experiences if you're kind of an outsider looking in, or you manage to, I suppose, allow the message of what BCII is and tailor it to that audience specifically. So today that's kind of what I'm going to be focusing on. So my definition of what BCII is, and bear in mind that when I sort of give this to you, it's kind of drawing and emphasising on the key aspects of what I have got out of this course, I suppose the value add that it has provided me with as a student, and what it has really allowed me to do in terms of figuring out what career I'd like to pursue after university. So, for example, this is my definition because these are the things that are important to me. So, BCII is a transdisciplinary degree that works around live briefs and focuses on the implementation of these ideas within the innovation landscape. So it's a bit of like a muddled sentence, and I slightly change it every time I say it, but that's kind of the key things that stand out for me. I have really enjoyed working in a transdisciplinary environment. I'm sure a lot of you know from the business faculty, it's quite, obviously we have different people from different majors and there's a little bit of variety in terms of the people that you come across, but that newsreader style of speaking, like that is our entire faculty. That is every presentation, every time you get up and you give a presentation to an audience, that is kind of what you get, and I suppose BCII has really opened me up to this new way of thinking and new styles of approaching a problem. So in terms of personal branding, I really wanted to kind of emphasise here that with your specific definition of what BCII is, when you're trying to sell this course and I suppose your background to someone in a job interview or whatever it might be, you really have to tie it in with your own personal brand, which is something that I try to do with my definition because I'm someone who really I will often emphasise the fact that I've worked with industry partners because I'm lucky enough at the start of next year I'm going to be working at management consulting firm, Extension, one of our industry partners. So in my interview for that process, I was sort of working around the idea that I have a track record of working with these industry partners, being able to deliver on real briefs, and ultimately understanding how we can implement the crazy ideas that we come up with here in the real world, which is, I think, something that has really shone through industry innovation projects. So I wanted to just run through quickly this whole idea of personal branding. I think there's a few post-it notes around the room, so if you guys have access to one, or maybe just think of it in your head. I want you to write down what BCII has added to your experience here at university, and obviously think beyond that as well. How has it affirmed the career path that you hope to pursue after university? Because I honestly think that if you can try and tailor the course experience and your definition of what it is to how it has added value to you as a person, it's really going to help you to ultimately sell it because you believe in that statement in the first place. So firstly, I want you to just write down how you think you see BCII and in terms of the positives behind that. And then I also want you to think about, in the back of your mind, how other people view it and the types of questions they might ask throughout this process. So everyone kind of like think of something in your head, I suppose. And there's this real cross-section between how you see yourself and how external people see BCII, because as you know, once we get an industry partner in the room, they have this incredible experience where they're allowed to actually interact with what the degree is and experience it for themselves. And then further on, I think in terms of personal branding, it's really, really important to reflect on this value-adding process that I mentioned before. So, say for example, I'm sort of going to set a bit of a scene for you here. You're about to walk into a job interview. You have prepared in terms of like, you've researched the company, you know kind of what you're getting into. You don't know who's obviously interviewing you and their specific professional experience, but you kind of have an idea of, I suppose, where you're going, and you have like limited expectations. So I guess in order to manage this experience, there's a lot of like uncertainties involved. Definitely keep these points of value adding in mind and to kind of flip it on its head in a way that you can ask this person how those value-added principles that you gave them this degree will improve their company, I suppose, or their role as a whole. Depends on how big or how small it is. But for example, when I was applying for extension, there's this real, I suppose, pack up and go culture where you're expected to just lift up everything from underneath you and potentially like move somewhere else for a short period, like 6 weeks, it could be 2 years, you don't really know, to another part of the world, another extension office. And it's because they recruited you especially for that specialist kind of skill. So that culture is quite real, and it's something you kind of just have to accept with the job. But that's something for me that really excites me, and I suppose I had to kind of prove that with my track record in BCII, that's something that I'm capable of coping with. So when you're in your interview, coffee, chat, I don't know, whatever it might be, you kind of have to, I suppose, link this back to your previous experiences and really drive home the message that it will make a difference in that particular company, or it will be you're suiting the company culture and things like that. And then just quickly to sort of finish off, I wanted to leave you guys with this idea of, you may have heard of it if you've seen TEDx in the last year. Mike Cannon-Brooks, he did this really interesting talk on the idea of imposter syndrome. So it's this whole notion of feeling out of depth and not really feeling like you fit the mold or you feel a bit of a fraud. If this is something that as you're developing this personal brand in the back of your head and you get this kind of sensation like you're living a lie, you're selling that brand as who you are, just remember that this is normal. I guarantee you I completely felt that in my interview, but there is something to embrace with this entire process, I guess, of feeling out of depth. BCI has really taught me that, yes, I suppose there is a massive gap in your knowledge in terms of my core degree. It definitely leaves a lot of gaps and skills where I could fill, like obviously after I graduate, the areas that I need to fill. However, we need to embrace that mindset and ultimately be like, okay, sure, like I'm kind of living a lie, but I guess you've got to get further towards this idea and continue chasing that. But I guess I wanted to just also finish off on the idea that I know that everyone is different here, and my experiences in this whole life after uni process is very different to like another person sitting next to me. But one thing I really want to bring home is that if anyone is feeling just generally really out of depth with what am I going to do next year, because obviously I've kind of figured it out a little bit earlier, but if you're still stuck on the idea, I'm going to put my hand up now and say I'm completely free to chat whenever you like, because I've been there and I understand it is a really confronting process, trying to come up with who you are and being able to sell that. So going forward, obviously this extends beyond this event, but definitely want to put my hand up to say, like, if you wanted like a little informal consultation or whatever, I'd love to sit down with you guys and talk through it all. It's really scary. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. And I hope that like I kind of didn't really dwell on it too much, but if you guys want to think about what your personal brand is and how you link that in with BCII and you kind of struggle with what you've taken out of this course, because I know, like, looking back on it now, I'm kind of just like, what did we learn? Like, we know we changed as people, but it's kind of sometimes hard to articulate for some people. Some people it's really easy, but some it's not. So let's chat to you. If you have any questions, come here.
We've got some time for questions. If anyone's got questions for Sophie, about at all. Yeah. Max, yes, thank you.
I'll just be quick. What you were saying before about, like, oh my god, how do I condense 4 years of BCII where there's no clear theme and things are constantly changing into kind of like into something like very simple for people to understand and something of experience. I mean, with marketing, you can, the rule of threes is very present, and you can be like, I'm good at this and this and this. But if I'm going to start saying with BCII, oh, I'm good at transdisciplinarity and working with other people, and I understand complex systems, and I also know how, you know what I mean? Is there like, I don't know if I have a question actually. That was more
Don't worry, I faced that. I've sat a couple of interviews at the start of this year, and one interview went terribly, honestly, because there was an instance where I thought I was communicating those kind of a little complex concepts really well, and I thought that I was really like giving them real examples of in their business how it actually applied. But they still didn't really get it at the end. But at the end, I just came to the conclusion, like, this isn't the right place to work. Yeah. So it's okay. But, sorry? I won't say. Someone's thinking about it, but, like, I don't know, the telco, never mind. But in terms of, like, I think, holistically, you really just have to go into, like, I'm assuming from an interview perspective here, you really just have to go in quite prepared with how you link these concepts into their company. Just do your research. Try and come up with some examples.
Does anyone else have a question? Because I think it was kind of a question. Yeah, so, Zach, go. I'm going. Caitlin.
Hey, I'm just wondering, how do you sell in BCII, how we do assignments in such a quick time, and they're not always polished products at the end, but often you say, I did this with this partner. You're like, cool, so what, like, did they implement that? What did you do? You're like, well, I don't know, like, the greatest idea I got, but it's more the process. How do you sell that?
Well, I mean, in that case, I sort of avoid talking about the end product. We'll just talk about the process, because I think that's where they really want to hear, like, what you have to offer. If you can explain how you went about tackling that challenge, and maybe if it's a completely unrelated product or industry or whatever, try and find some way of linking it back to them. Just tailor it to your audience and kind of know who you're speaking to.
This is more, I don't know if this is a question more of a statement, but I really like this, like, I also am like low-key freaking out about what's going to happen next year. I'm sure a lot of people have got a lot of freaking out, but I just want to put that out there, like, I don't know if anyone has a contribution or something, I feel so, I don't know, some way to all collectively, I don't know, share and talk about how we feel next year, maybe having, I don't know, mentors or people who've gone through that. BCII people from the year above that did it, something like that. I think that's really something that could happen in the future.
Oh, and I forgot to mention as well, there's Nadia, another thing that I reckon is so valuable, if you can do this. I found a mentor at Accenture before I went into my interview, and I went along to this networking thing knowing that they'd be there, and it was legit the most useful thing, purely based on the fact that that there's only so much you can kind of read online, like when you're researching a company. So if you know someone on the inside, you can really understand the intricacies of how it works, and obviously like maybe even mention, oh, you know, so-and-so working on this project, and say like, oh, that's something I'm interested in, or I know I'm aware of this project that's happening right now that is interesting and aligned with my passions and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, just building on that, one of the things I really noticed reading across all of your different descriptions of IIP projects within Envisioning Futures is that all of the organisations that you are working with have their own language. And one of the feedback we got from last year from BCII students who were going out and sort of starting to do these interviews was that sometimes in organisations they use, or even looking at job ads, they use certain language that is very particular to their organisation, which can be translated, but you don't often know what that translation is. And so by having that person on the inside, you're able to go, oh, so that, when you're using that actually is what we're doing over here. But like having that translation point seems really useful. So great.
And I think it also helps for like managing your expectations of what a role after graduation with them would be like. Obviously, everyone's going to experience certain organisations differently, but they can kind of give you a little bit of an insight. You also know what you're getting into, and you can definitively say, no, I'm actually not interested in working there. That's another thing. Don't get stuck somewhere you're not keen on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is more of a comment than a question. So I'm really moved by my feeling about it. Talk, a speech, a lecture, a story, is that it should always have gift to be as powerful as it can be. And I love the fact that yours was a gift of your own story, but also the generosity of your willingness to speak to other people after today. And I think that you should all take up Sophie on that. But more than that, I think that connecting back to Cameron's idea of the wisdom of the crowd is a very nice exercise last year for people who were mildly freaking out about next year. It was based on a kind of co-counselling wisdom of the crowds kind of formula that was really helpful. And I think that thinking of yourself as a crowd, longer term, not just the first job that you get when you leave next year, which isn't really what it's about, because you'll be a network for life, hopefully. Certainly working that way for the year, the pioneering year that went ahead of you. So if you think of it as how you can stay connected for life, you can all be very generous to each other and gain as much as you can from each other on a continuing basis.
So Solomon's point as well, actually just by getting together, you might already start thinking about doing things together.
Can we extend our passion projects?
Sweet, I think we might wrap it there. Once again, Sophie Phillips, everyone. We officially wrap it up for today. There are some people that we do need to thank. First of all, being all the speakers. So Oliver, Nadia, Max, Kai, Jess, Cameron, and Sophie. It would have been very strange without any speakers. So thank you for donating your wisdom and your time in preparing it and speaking up here. So we've also got some people behind the scenes. So Jules, wherever Jules is, there's Jules. Jules has been critical in the organisation and talking to each speaker. So she's been a really crucial part of the team behind the scenes. Things. Maya was responsible for all the cool posters that you saw here and on Facebook, wherever she is. Hello. Hey. And Jenny, who has been faithfully recording this entire thing, both photo-y and video-y. But obviously, as you would all know, we sort of saw it happening as it happened on Facebook. The two main people who were the driving forces behind this, get up here, were Mr. Matthew Byers and Mr. Solomon Rockamore.
I just want to say as well, where's Sophie? Sophie still here? Sophie also was crucial to the marketing of it as well. And the catering, which Ben and the FTDI faculty was happy enough to give us. So thank you very much.
$30 an hour. So I've been told that as a post-envisioning futures after party, there'll be people going down to Lansdowne, is it? Is it still happening?
Yeah.
With such enthusiasm, it's definitely happening. We're going down to Lansdowne. Drink responsibly, your parents love you. But otherwise, have a really good weekend, and I guess we'll all see you back here on Tuesday. So.
We're not going to the Lansdowne, we're going to the law. Sorry. We're just going to the law. That's easier.
Huh?